Right. And so, Jeff, let's take you back to your prosecutor days. Here you have something that, generally speaking, money is something that jurors understand when you're talking about money,
right.
about motive, especially a significant amount of money. I mean, $500,000 we're talking about here.
Right.
But can you understand and do you agree with the prosecutor saying, if I try to get this in, I can't prove that Alejandro Ferrer knew anything about this $500,000 policy, and if I muscle it into this case, you know what? That's the kind of issue that an appellate court could throw this whole thing back at us for. What do you think of that?
No, absolutely. As a prosecutor, you're always mindful that you don't want to have to try this case over. So you're always walking this line. Do I have enough to convict? And can I convict somebody safely without having this case come back on appeal? Because 2-3 years later on appeal, you don't know what evidence you're going to have, you don't know where your witnesses are going to be, and you may not be able to prove it. So I do think you have to walk that fine line. I still wonder, though, why they didn't want to bring both these defendants together in a joint trial.
Yeah.
You could try it as a conspiracy to commit murder. And for the viewers, they may know this, you have problems when you do that with using one person's statement that implicates another. But if you avoid the statements, and they didn't really have any statements that they really needed in this case, you might have been able to put that case together and try to get in this whole argument, this motive of, $500,000, because I think that does provide a missing piece that may have changed the whole complexity of this case when they hear that there's a life insurance policy on this person.
Yeah, that's a very good question about